Fellas, in today's video, I'll be covering Spider-Man in the simplified Marvel Rivals guide. Spider-Man is a duelist, a DPS, and a fan favorite. He could take some time getting used to, but his fast-paced gameplay and hefty damage-dealing combos make him a great choice for any team. Spider-Man is not complicated to learn, but the playstyle will be a big change-up for most people. Spending some time in Doom Patrol as well as some practice matches will let you get a good feel for combat and gameplay, especially since Spider-Man is best used on single targets. So definitely utilize that at first. In this video, his combos, playstyle, and more will be covered, so whether you're new to Spider-Man or need a seasonal refresher, this video will be for you. His offensive toolkit consists of his secondary attack, which is ranged and tags an enemy. Tagged enemies will take bonus damage from most other attacks. His rapid basic attack, which is the same as his melee. He also has an attack that will pull an enemy to you or you towards an enemy, depending on if they're marked. He also has an attack that launches an enemy into the air. Spider-Man also does have a team up with his Venom, allowing for strikes to push the enemy back. Topped off with his ultimate, which is fast, gives bonus health, and while not doing a ton of damage per hit, allows you to absolutely melt foes. His support defensive toolkit consists of his web swing. He can double jump, wall crawl, and run. He also has a spider sense, alerting him when enemies have been nearby, and he gives Squirrel Girl a new attack that's actually useful. Now let's take a deeper dive into his abilities and how to use them. First things first, Spider-Man does have 5 web slots that refill over time. You can see that just below the crossbar. This is for his secondary attack. When you use it, it will take a web slot, and then it refills after a couple seconds. This is going to be the main thing that you got to keep an eye on when using his abilities. And so starting with his second attack, Web Cluster, this will be his right click or left trigger depending. This is a ranged projectile that shoots fast and hits for 30 damage. Each click does use one of his web slots, but will mark your target upon hitting them, as you can see above the health bar. Marked targets will take more damage from Spider-Man from all of his attacks. And so you'll use this very often in combos, and in general it's good for chip damage. However, one thing to note is that when you do an attack, it does destroy the mark, so you have to reapply it each time. Next up is Spider Power, which is the left click or right trigger. This is his basic attack. It's a 3-round combo doing 25 damage, and then 40. The first 2 attacks do hit a lot faster than his third, but in general is pretty fast. Similar to the web shooter, you'll use this very often during combos, and with a lot of melee heroes, the first 2 attacks hit for 3 meters, with the third attack hitting for 4 meters. Now we have Get Over Here. This is E on keyboard or R1 on controller. This move will change depending on if the target is marked or not, and is a great start to any combo. Non-marked targets like this one will be pulled towards you, and then marked targets will pull Spider-Man towards them, kicking them at the end. Pulling the target will do 25 damage and works up to 20 meters, while pulling Spider-Man to the target does 50 damage and works up to 24 meters. This does have an 8-second cooldown, so it should be something that you use often, and it's great for separating foes or pulling yourself into a cluster. And the next step is Amazing Combo. This is with the F or Square X ability. This is a good attack to use after using the web pull, and of course this does more damage on marked foes. Spider-Man has a charge of 2 for this with a 2-second cooldown per use, and then this will hit for 5 meters, making it great for clusters, as this will launch the enemies up in the air. It does feel odd that a melee hero can hit targets behind him like this, but it's a 5-meter radius around Spider-Man, not just in front of him. And then with his ultimate Spectacular Spin, this is Q or pressing both Joy-Cons. This launches web clusters all around Spider-Man, damaging and slowing enemies. This absolutely shreds lower health targets, hitting every 0.08 seconds for 2.4 seconds. So it's very fast to use, getting in a ton of damage. Spider-Man does get a bonus 250 health, and has a slowing effect of -3% per hit, but hitting a foe 20 times will stun them for 1.5 seconds. I think I've only seen that in action once, as normally foes are killed before that happens. I found this best to use on clusters, especially of supports, as this will allow Spider-Man to easily eliminate them. Next we have the web swing, which is on shift or L1. This is just a general web swing ability similar to Venom. However, you can use them more often. A good tip to do though is to go to your settings and then keyboard or controller depending on which you play. In the combat settings, select change hero and then scroll down to the hero settings. Turning off automatic swing will make it easier for you to aim and allows you to web zip. Web zipping is when you swing at the ground to pull yourself forward, which is very good for getting around, especially if there's no walls nearby. And this does have 3 charges with a 6-second cooldown, but it does have a range of 30 meters, so you do have to be careful where you aim it. And then as a general tip, looking towards the direction you're swinging will make you swing faster, as opposed to looking in other directions. And so this is great for mobility, getting the health packs as well, or getting back to your healers to heal up. Next up we have Thwip and Flip. This lets you double jump. There's no cooldown on it, which is neat. You press the jump button after jumping to jump again, letting you double jump. Jump. And then next we have his passive Web Crawl. With this, you jump at the wall, and then you can crawl on the wall. Or if you press your basic attack, you can then run on the wall. This is great for surprise attacks and getting a better sense of the field, and will give you a moment to cool down your abilities. And then last up we have Spider Sense. This gives a screen warning just like that when enemies are nearby. Spider-Man will also turn his head to show you which direction the bad guys are coming from. It's very useful for hunting and on any foes that are trying to sneak up on you. Spider-Man has 2 team-up abilities. One with Squirrel Girl that gives her a bonus immobilizing bomb. The other one is with Venom for suit expulsion. Venom is fairly common, and you can see the symbiote on Spider-Man on his shoulders. This will give Spider-Man a new team-up attack on his team-up button. When you press it, it does 50 damage per hit and hits anyone within a 5-meter radius. This hits once a second for 4 seconds, and it also knocks back the enemies incredibly far. This is great used in clusters and for breaking up the enemy team, pushing them back from an objective or out of a choke point. Out of all the team-up abilities that I've seen so far, I actually think this one is my favorite. And in general, it's just good to use to get in some incredibly fast damage. And so that's the gist of all of his abilities. Let's hop into some matches to see him in action. Spider-Man works best on a team with good healers. He can take some getting used to for his abilities, making it hard to get your kills or apply pressure. However, he is very hard to deal with since they're so nimble and great for escaping. Working with other duelists to secure picks and deal damage also makes for a good playstyle. Otherwise, if you do have a good handle on him, surprise attacks and retreating will be the best way to go, constantly killing off the other supports. In other words, longer fights will not bode well for Spidey, but burst damage and ambushes is the path to aim towards. Some combos for Spider-Man are Web Cluster to mark, Web Pull to getting closer, and then Uppercut. This is a classic option, and then you can use the Web Symbiote afterwards if needed to secure the kill. Another good one is Web Cluster, swinging close preferably with the Web Zip, and then Uppercut. The Uppercut will cancel out the Web Zip's landing animation. It does do less damage than the prior combo, but you do keep your web pull. These are great opener combos, confusing the target and dealing good damage. So what's the next step? You web cluster again while the target is up in the air, get some punches in to finish off the target. If the target runs away, having your web pull available is a good way to get in close. You can also swing around and use the walls to stall the target out in case you do need time to recharge your abilities as well. Then the next step is to swing away and do it all over again. Swinging onto health packs to recharge, or if you hit a ledge, this will keep your speed while skipping the landing animation. Again, it's also very important, watch Spider-Man's head when you see the Spidey sense. He will turn his head towards where the target is, giving you the advantage. Now Spider-Man does have a few counters, especially from Bucky, who can knock you down, and Iron Fist. Swinging away is Spider-Man's best response to most things, but you want to be protecting your team though. You don't want your team dying off while you're in the deep on the other team. Keep the healers safe so that they can help out everyone else. Spider-Man, I find, takes a lot of work. He's great for ambushes and sneaking around. He's great for pulling targets off of the objective or even off the map. And I find he takes a lot of work to learn just for a little bit of reward. But getting an effective hang of him will make him a real valuable asset to the team. As you get comfortable with the speed and dashing around, he'll become harder to hit and make it easier for you to land behind enemy players and ruin the day, killing them before they can properly respond. And that's a wrap on this simple Spider-Man Marvel Rivals guide. Tell me, did I miss anything, or do you have any tips of your own that you think other people should know? Leave it in the comments below. And hey, Hit that like button if you're still watching, subscribe for more videos like this if you haven't already, and stay tuned for the next one.